Good morning, everyone. It's bright and early. Welcome to the early morning broadcast. I'm live this morning mainly because it allows me to kind of test out this broadcast software. And I also want to discuss the topic at hand. How's everyone doing today? It's bright and early, but I figured it'd be a great opportunity to come in and kind of speak very much candidly and without interruption. And so here's the way I'll deal with today's live. You know, this live broadcast is dedicated to, as I said, figuring out this software. That's number one. And number two, I really want to just give some very brief travel updates as it pertains to Black Travelers Network. I definitely will go more in depth at a different day, on a different day with a different broadcast. I will say that I'm very much behind from the last trip to Brazil that we had, where the whole goal was to share pictures and videos, because this is an exciting new destination that I was able to visit, and I cannot wait to introduce this destination to everyone. I'm super excited about it. It's a beautiful part of Brazil that is oftentimes overlooked. A lot of people don't even know this place exists, and it's super, super beautiful. And so I cannot wait to share that with you, because there will be an opportunity or multiple opportunities for those of you who want to join the trip and who want to actually travel to be a part of the overall experience. It's really one of those breathtaking places that I could talk to you at nauseum about, but at the same time, I think what's most important is for us to make sure that we get everyone the information out, and to give you a glimpse based off of the videos and the pictures, because the group was amazing, and the trip wrapped up over the Thanksgiving holiday, and so I'm just very delayed in getting all of the photos and videos up. So be patient. There are a couple of live videos out there that I was able to capture right there in the moment, but I have a lot of stuff recorded that I need to upload so people can get a glimpse of the destination. But before I get into today's topic, I want to give those very brief travel updates. And like I said, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time discussing this, but what you will see, what is on the screen, of course, is our trips for the 2024 season. You can always email us at blacktravellersnetwork@gmail.com for anything that may pique your interest in terms of where you'd like to travel. And this topic today is really an important topic that we need to discuss, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, this is something that we all should be wrapping our mind about as we make advances technologically in society. And so today's topic is international group travel and how it is becoming sort of the new spiritual journey. And so I want to take it from the top and highlight some of the best aspects of the Black church. And I say that as someone who is not necessarily an avid churchgoer. I am not one of those people who is in the habit of going to church at this point in my life. At one particular point in my life when I was younger, as most people, I didn't really have a choice. But today, in today's time, so much of the interest in the Black church has, when I'm talking, and when I say the interest, I'm talking about the masses of Black people, as a whole. There's a bit of a declining interest in the Black church. And it's unfortunate in a lot of ways, because the Black church has always been the foundation of Black society here in America. And what the church gives is us a place of worship. It gives time during the week when, we can put our problems to the side and get a word and a message of encouragement when we go to church. It's the place you can go and get your cup refilled after having spent a week facing challenges and obstacles, both internally and externally. And, some people do that on a weekly basis, and some people do it on a monthly basis, and some people every now and again. Most people today kind of have their own sort of way in which they tap in spiritually to the Black church. And for a lot of people, that does not involve physically going. And I think even when COVID happened, we saw an even greater decline, because we could not go and we could not be in the church. And so many people attended church online, which was a nice option for a lot of people. And so the church gives us time during the week, every Sunday, where you can be very intentional about your spiritual faith, where you can be intentional about praying and honoring the connection that you have with the Lord, God, Most High, however you refer to the supreme being, the supreme energy, however you refer to it. The church also gives us a place to meet others in the community. Networking and performing acts of service that's not only helping others, but also helping us as individuals by giving that back. It feels good to give back. It really does something for the person when you can actually help someone who is in need. And the church has always been that entity, that structure, that foundation in Black society, where giving was not only welcomed and encouraged. To a certain extent, it's always kind of been expected, It's something that doesn't even have to be talked about. It's just something that just happens, quite honestly. And the Black church has been ground zero for Blacks in the communities throughout the United States to organize. And it's also been critical throughout history when it comes to engaging in social justice movements that has advanced Blacks in America out of slavery and Jim Crow segregation into the various eras that we have had throughout Black history and Black society. And one of the biggest roles the Black church has played in and throughout Black society in America is that it has been an economic engine to help and assist Black people in the community, whether it's ensuring people have meals, housing, daycare, and schooling. This has been the pillar of the Black community. And I say that because so often, we hear about drama that comes from or out of churches, but I feel like it's important to take the time and really highlight the positives and why this institution is so critical and so foundational and so important to Blacks throughout American society, regardless of what we choose or how we choose to worship, regardless of our faith, you know? I remember when I first traveled, and I'm talking about first traveled on an airplane, first traveled outside of the state of Texas, first traveled outside of the United States. My very first trip, the church had a very important connection to me, the Black church, my church home, which was really more of my grandmother's church home and my mom's church home. You know, I remember my grandmother being so excited about me going on this trip and so proud of me because it was just an opportunity that I secured for myself based off of my education, based off of my writing and my skills. I basically secured this amazing opportunity that no one in my family had to pay for, that allowed me to visit New York and various parts of Israel. And my grandmother was so happy and so excited. She went to our church and she was just bragging and talking about what I'd done. And so before I left, I went to church because, you know, the church was excited and they were happy because this was a small community church. They were excited. They were happy. They wanted me to come so they could pray over me. And I went to the church service and they took up a collection for me to go to Israel so I would have some money in my pocket for my first trip. I never expected the church to do that. I never asked. I don't think any of us expected that. It was just such a generous offering that the church gave to me, which reminds me, I got to give back to my church home for that act of service, because that happened so many years ago, but I never forgot it. And it's a very important, critical part of my growth and development, not just as a young adult into an adult, but also it has shaped really an important course of my life. And the church, the Black church, is very much associated and affiliated with that experience and what I dedicate so much of my life to nowadays. The church has a special place in my heart and in my story as a result of their contribution to helping me travel internationally. So the church is very important. It is a very important historical institution for us as Blacks in America. You know, I know there are different people who tune in and tap into the broadcast, but it's so important that we have to be honest in terms of where we are right now when it comes to the Black church. And we have to be honest in saying church membership today is not what it historically has been. And it used to be everyone, especially Black Americans, had a church home they were associated with or that they would attend. And today, that unfortunately is not the case. It's not the case at all. Most of the church homes are connected to, most of the church homes that we're connected to, if we're not an active churchgoer, is most likely a recent church that our parents have attended or our grandparents attend. But so many people in Black society are opting out of the traditional Black church. And when it comes to Blacks in America, many Black people have explored other religions, other spiritual practices, and other spiritual faiths, other spiritual ways of life as well. And so for the most part, Blacks in America today are still very much a Christian faith-based group. But many Blacks observe and have a diverse range of spiritual practice more than at any other point in history. It used to be in America, you could look at any random Black person and know instantly, oh, that person is a Christian. But that's not really the case today. You find Blacks who are Christian, who are Catholic, who are Muslim. I've met Buddhists. You find Blacks who practice voodoo, Blacks who practice hoodoo, Blacks who practice Ifa, another religion out of Brazil. I've met Blacks here in the United States who practice a Brazilian spiritual system called Umbanda. You have Santeria. Just a wide variety of spiritual systems and faiths are a reflection when it comes to American Black society. And you cannot today look at just any random Black person and say, oh, that person is a Christian, because it's a good chance you may actually be wrong. But we could all identify the various reasons why the picture is the way that it is, and that it's changed over time. But the point is, the Black church as we know it is not able to capture everyone's attention, interest, and resources. It's just not. Our society is evolving so rapidly and so quickly that what once was the home, the churches was kind of like the home of every Black person in America, and different Black people affiliated with different churches, of course. But that is so not the case today. But this is why today's topic is so relevant, because in addition to the historical, the traditional churches, in addition to the history and the traditional churches all over and throughout Black America, we must have another avenue of bringing our people, Black people especially, to this newer generation, I'd say, together for ways in which we can worship, we can network, we can organize, and carry out the acts of service as we have done as a group of people historically. And I believe international group travel is that opportunity. So much of what the church has been able to accomplish can be accomplished with organized international group travel experiences. So, for example, being able to worship. You can worship God by visiting other churches in different parts of the world if you are so moved to do so. It's not only a great way of meeting people, but also really absorbing and understanding different aspects of culture and how it plays out in other places, and seeing the strong similarities that we all have in our faith and the strong belief system that we have, and how it plays out in different parts of the world. So if you're moved to visit churches in other parts of the world, that's an avenue that international group travel can provide for you. But for me, it still comes out differently. And what I don't want people to gloss over is that worshiping God or worshiping the Most High, however you choose to worship, can look different when you travel internationally with a group than what it looks like when you're in the four walls of a church. And for me, it's always come down to, I've traveled to so many beautiful places, like places that literally just will move you to tears because the beauty is so unimaginable. It's like seeing God on earth, or God personified. When you travel, you're able to see God in the people you meet, in the animals, in the landscape, in the trees, learning the history and visiting the historical monuments. That is, for me, it makes me feel so connected to the Most High, because certain things is just so unbelievable that anybody had the capacity to develop or create this. Like, it could only come from God. And so, just like the church has many different purposes, traveling internationally as a group, it gives everyone a purpose to leave the country and have a shared experience with people you know and people you may have never met. This is how networking takes place. Earlier, I kind of mentioned that the church gives a time during the week when you can put your problems to the side and get a word or a message of encouragement. Organized international group trips gives you that same opportunity to put your problems aside. Not only are you able to put your problems aside, you're able to turn off your phone. You're able to disconnect from the internet, from media if you choose to, and leave the country, get in a new environment, and get your cup refilled. It's like a new environment brings on new energy. And international group travel is our focus here at Black Travelers Network, because when we think of everything the Black church has done for Black society since 1773, and the first Black churches in America is said to have been started and organized 250 years ago by freedmen and enslaved Blacks in South Carolina, Virginia, and Georgia. However, worship has always been a part of our culture and our history. So 1773 is just what they have record of. We as Black people have a history and a culture of worship, but we also have a history and a culture of world travel that's just as long. And so many people will invest in going to church, and so many people will also invest in international travel. And I just feel like international travel is there to speak to those people who may not necessarily be open to church, but you still have a strong faith, you still have a belief in God, but you want to be able to see the world. It comes down to, how do you honor and worship God and practice your spirituality while traveling at the same time? And it's usually very, very easy to make those connections. But if we look at how society is advancing so quickly, it is important to establish connections beyond the people we know, where we lived, and who lives in our neighborhoods and our communities, and those who work with us on our jobs. I'm always challenging myself and other people to expanding our networks, because that is the quickest way to expand our knowledge base and to learn the things we cannot possibly learn online. I believe the best, most cost-effective way to do that is through international group travel. So that is my pitch to all of you. I just think it's so amazing what the Black church has done for Black society. And I see so many strong connections between international travel and the Black church, and so many Black churches have incorporated international travel into what they offer for their congregations and their parishioners, because they understand the strong connection that travel brings to the community, to the church, to just strengthening your connection with God. I really believe that the churches understand that, and also want to have aspects of the work that they do touching others and helping others in communities beyond the local community here in the United States. And so I truly respect that and honor that. And so that is why I believe, low key, as church memberships kind of decline, unfortunately, there's a bit of a decline when we talk about the church and the world we live in. International travel is becoming that new spiritual journey because you can tap in and connect to God so quickly and so easily. And it's like, if you're anything like me, you're praying the whole time, from the time you board the plane to when you're on the plane to when you land, when you're traveling about, when you're coming back home. I mean, it really, really connects you to the Most High. And so thank you guys for listening. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I have more lives coming up, more interesting topics. I can't wait to unveil it. I needed to test out this software, and I see some of the challenges and the opportunities with it. And so I got to make some corrections on the back end. But that has been today's broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you stay connected, and also hit the button to make sure you get the notifications for when I go live or when videos are posted. And that has been all for today. And until next time.